Mr. Roberts, your 2-second warning.
Hello, magnificent eardrums. Eyeballs. Hello, magnificent eye drums. It's Thursday, November 19th, 2020, and we do warmly welcome you to the Voicing the World Late Night Noisecast, episode 16. Once again, doing what we can and what we must to ensure feasts of reason, flows of soul, and stolen moments of electrified begroovery in the long and somewhat generous cavity search that is the year of our noise, 2020. On the show tonight, we're bringing new adventures in super circle sound from the Chris Nickolls-led outfit KMODO, from mesmerizing alternative folk artist Izzie Yardley, and my longtime friend and collaborator in noise, the award-winning composer, saxophonist, and vocalist Charlotte Harding, stops virtually by to drink, laugh, and speak palaces of light into the void. I begin tonight's episode then with Boris Johnson's new interstellar defense budget of gratitude for all of your feedback across the Intertrouser, the Bookface, the TubeU, and such. It's day 259 in the bunker, and we ride our first waves of air tonight with Chris Nickolls' immersive alt-pop and electronica band KMODO, about whom more after we drop in on a live-to-tape session of their recent hit single. This is When You're Ready.
Say I do much to keep
South London-based producer and musician Chris Nickolls there, his band KMODO, comprising Clara Serra Lopez on vocal cords, Lewis Moody on keys, Leo Appleyard on guitar, and, of course, my dear friend Chris himself on all manner of rhythmic assertions. Combining big beats, synths, and organic sounds with multi-genre collaborations across their output, KMODO are fixed to drop their new single next week, which 12th Pier will, of course, celebrate in all of its glory, and which I therefore wanted to draw your attention to their output here and now in order that you are appropriately prepared to receive their forthcoming begrooviness in all of its glory. Links below as ever, folks. You know what to do by now. So, what is going on? Well, I'm going to tell you. If my alternative side gig in political analysis has taught me anything over the years, it is to follow the money. I meticulously avoid doom-scrolling social media these days, but a spot of headline grazing earlier did draw my attention to Boris Johnson's announcement to spend some £16.5 billion on defence, to include the establishment of a space command. This, of course, has echoes of Donald Trump's Space Force establishment during his first and only term as President of the United States. Declassified documents from the Pentagon in 2020 have shown that alien technologies deemed not to have originated on this planet have been identified and acknowledged as such. I am occasionally and most assuredly mistakenly read as being sympathetic to conspiracy theorists, but telltale bunker and LED light display aside, I assure you that is most assuredly not the case. But you've got to ask, who, or perhaps more pertinently, what would require retaliatory ground-to-space weapons systems to be in place by 2022? I'm just saying and hoping that this humble 16th edition of the Noisecast never, ever turns out to be prophetic. And speaking of misread interpretations in identity, my guest interviewee last week, Mr. Nick Peeney, who some of you magnificent people appeared to mistake for a member of the Grateful Dead, as I recall in certain social media interactions, introduced me to this next artist, a new addition to the Super Circle and a very welcome one at that. Blending folk, jazz and soul, Izzie Yardley has been compared to the likes of Laura Marling and Melody Gardot, bringing her poetic stories of life, death and humanity to some of London's most loved venues, gaining plaudits from the likes of Squeeze luminary Chris Difford and supporting industry giants such as Ethan Johns. A highlight now then from London's Union Chapel on International Women's Day this year. You will of course recognise the gentleman on bass. This is Izzie Yardley and Imposter.
I'm in over my head, taking time on my own. I'm calling my friends to ask them if they know about stupefying dreams and bursting at the seams and the twists and turns that make us yearn for the times when we were younger, wild and free. Where do I begin? Draw a line through all you know. I don't know if I can help feeling so low. When it all falls down, will you come to take us home? What if I begin and it's lost forever? Yeah. losing my prudence, drinking tea on the kitchen floor at 3 o'clock in the morning, and nothing ever felt so fucking real. And I'm nursing my head, pretending that I'm better than that. Tell me, do I belong? Wanted this for so long, to hear the words sweetly from your bed. Where do I begin? Draw a line through all you know. I don't know if I can help feeling so low. When it all falls down, will you come to take us home? What if I begin and it's lost forever? Oh, yeah. They'll fall, they'll fall. For who, yeah. Where do I begin? Draw a line through all you know. I don't know if I can help feeling so low. When it all falls down, will you come to take us home? What if I begin and it's lost forever? Yeah.
Thank you very much. Enjoy this night.
Izzie Yardley there, Nick Peeney on bass with Imposter. Imposter being the name of the song, not Nick on the bass, of course. Be sure to follow the links below to check out more of Izzie's work and indeed further collaborations with Mr. Peeney. Interview time now then, and once again, words fail to capture the creative leaps and bounds I have enjoyed collaborating with tonight's guest, from country songwriting to string ensemble arrangements for would-be new Shakespearean operas. The Ivor Novello Award-winning composer Charlotte Harding is one of those true world beaters that once in a while fortune smiles on one enough to meet, get to know, and, if lucky enough, get to work with. Here, then, is our Noisecast conversation. Charlotte Harding, as I live and breathe, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm wonderful. All the better for seeing you. Thank you. How is the legend of noise that is Charlotte Harding during these unprecedented times?
I'd like that on a t-shirt.
You got it. You got it. The team are on it.
Do you think? Okay. No, I'm very well. Thank you. Yeah, bizarre year for many reasons, but no, all good and musicking away. But yeah, don't have the groovy lights like you do.
Well,
just a houseplant. Sorry.
The houseplant is easily doing all of the work. I spot in front of said houseplant some sort of colourful mug there. I understand you had a conflict of interest, as it were, between a tea-based and an alcohol-based drink. What's happening in your glass?
Well, what's happening in my Yorkshire glass? In my Scruffles is my cup of tea mug. Scruffles is my sister's dog. Yes, is a good cup of Yorkshire tea.
shameless shout out to Scruffles there. Yeah.
Yeah, like the rock and roll composer that I am. But in my glass is just a straight up G&T.
Ah, fantastic. Yes, I got wind of this, so I raise you actually a rather elaborate pomegranate and rose gin infused disaster with sparkling water rather than tonic. So times are tough.
It's all good. You've got lights.
I tell you, just hold it up to the lights. It looks great. Yep.
Got lights and fantasy gin. a houseplant and a mug of tea. But yeah, we're all good.
The Scruffles mug. Cheers. So, you and I have been in touch throughout the lockdown process, but remind me and inform the listeners what was taking place before Armageddon cut loose.
Gosh, it feels like so long ago, doesn't it?
Mm.
Last year was a good year. I keep saying this to people. I was so lucky. I had I guess 4 or 5 quite big projects that all kind of came to fruition last year. So yeah, unbelievably lucky that it wasn't this year, and I think it makes you appreciate it all even more when you look back on it and you think, oh gosh, you're able to do all these things. So yeah, I had a ballet which was premiered and toured. Had Peace at the Royal Albert Hall. Went to Glastonbury for the first time. Some orchestrations for that, and yeah, felt very rock and roll at Glastonbury. Yeah, it was just one of those sort of years where quite a few things came together. But yeah, actually really nice to just have time to reflect on some of it as well this year and take some time out.
Sure, let's go after that point first. You've been one of those people who I've seen expertly navigate the uncharted waters of lockdown, as it were, in terms of taking time out, taking time for reflection, and I guess establishing what it is that you want to take forward as you move beyond this. What sort of things are you thinking in that regard? What sort of things feel like they're working for you, or if not, as I've asked a few people now, if not future proof, then feel forward looking?
Yeah, I think it's funny because I don't think I would have necessarily taken the time myself to really look back on, the work that I've done and what has worked, what hasn't. I mean, I think I've always liked collaborative projects. Like I've always found just writing music in a room by myself like quite tough. And I so enjoyed writing the dance piece last year. And having projects where I can work with musicians from lots of different backgrounds. So, working with orchestras like the Power Orchestra, where we're working with rock pop musicians at the same time as orchestral musicians. I love being in those sort of environments and those rehearsal rooms and kind of, I guess working with just a kind of wealth of different people that then make me look at my music in quite a different way. So yeah, I think that's the priority going forward, is to just really focus on those projects where I can collaborate and kind of push the boundaries a little bit, and I guess focus on some of my stuff as well. Like I've done a lot of projects for other people or for orchestras, which has been amazing for the past this makes me feel old, but like 10 years since I've graduated. But yeah, I think it also now feels like the time to really focus on some of my stuff and kind of bring together all the threads that I've been working on with different people to kind of channel that into what I want, what my sort of composition style could be these days. So yeah, I think it's been it's obviously just been such a challenging time. I'm incredibly aware of how lucky I am that I can carry on working and can carry on doing what I do. But yeah, I personally have been incredibly grateful for just a bit of time out and a bit of time to kind of just look at things from a different perspective, I guess, isn't it? It's just being able to really step back and go, okay, and actually get outside. That's nice. Always good. So yeah, it's been an interesting year, but a valuable year, I think.
Yeah. I would, if I may be so bold, I would venture that one of the reasons that the things have felt in balance for people in your position, as it were, is during this time is the extent to which you sought to diversify your musical output and your creativity, you're not feeling restricted by genres and otherwise in that previous time. That to some extent, given background and otherwise, can make people outliers in that mix. How would you describe the kind of drives that you have in different multi-genre directions that have led to such a wonderfully diverse portfolio for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think I always use this phrase. I had a colourful musical background in terms of my upbringing, but I've always been very grateful for it. You know, I started off playing in ceilidh bands and working through the real book, and you know, doing a bit of classical music, and eventually got into the production side of things. And I mean, to me, it all sits in the same realm. Yeah. But I guess, yeah, professionally, that means that you end up working in a lot of different scenarios with different people, which then lead to, you know, different sort of, I guess, functions for your music as well as in the work that you're writing. So yeah, I mean, I think it's been, again, an interesting year just to see how creative everyone has been. You know, everyone has been asked a different question of themselves and of their craft. And I did one project with the East London Contemporary Music Group, where they asked me to write a short piece. So I ended up doing a piece called Sample, where I thought, well, everyone's actually in a room by themselves. This is actually a great opportunity to get some really nice dry recording samples of different techniques and stuff. So then asked them to record various things, and then stuck it all together and made a piece. And yeah, I guess things like that would never have come about, you know, had we not been in this sort of scenario. So it's I think it's that thing of creativity, isn't it? Is if you're put in a different box, how do you then respond, and how do you then kind of create work, and what different questions does it ask of you? So I think going forward, everyone is going to be more open into, especially in terms of sort of digital platforms and the way that people can consume arts and concerts and things like that. And I mean, that has to be a good thing in the sense of that, you know, it broadens opportunities for a lot of people. It's sort of interesting, and we're going into a new world, I feel, in the next year.
In terms of moving into that new world, and as you say there's this opportunity now to explore your own creativity and where that leads for you in terms of identity. I'm one of those people who has benefited from working with you and having your input on multiple projects, and hugely grateful as such, and naturally a natural champion therefore of anything that you bring noise like into the world. So give us a flavour of, I understand there's an EP in the works. Give us a flavour of what that entails and includes, please.
Yeah, so it's been something I've wanted to do for a long time, and yeah, it feels like the right time now. I've always felt that there's a lot to explore in the bringing together of electronic processes and the way that you mix and produce, and seeing that as a very artistic sort of scheme alongside what you'd be doing with acoustic instruments. So the EP is it's going to be called Try, and it's going to be for string quintet and percussion, drum kit. Got an amazing drummer called Alex on it. He's great. It's bringing these worlds together. I'm looking to create a hybrid notation of production techniques. So, for example, you know, notating the mix and production elements like delays and reverbs and filters and things like that, in the same way that I would be very specific about articulations, to bring these two worlds together, I guess, and to really just try and sort of create this hybrid language of using all the kind of electronic ways that you would think about putting sounds and putting things together, mixed in with the kind of contemporary composition side of things as well. So lots of mad time signatures on the go.
naturally.
But at the same time, I think I really want it just to be fun. I want it to be good, catchy, poppy, 3 minutes, very simple, very straightforward kind of music, but actually there to be a lot of layers and kind of detail, going on underneath the surface, and yeah, to just find this kind of language where electronic and acoustic can really kind of exist together, and yeah, kind of bring the production side to be as important as the composition and as the performance. So that's the plan. We shall see. But yeah, no, it's coming together, and I've got some lovely people on board with it all. So I will keep you posted.
Yes, please. Yeah, it goes without saying that I can't wait to hear that. You speak you speak of the compositional and this notion of a new language there in the mix being created. What, if I may ask, are some of the thematic inspirations behind some of the tracks?
So the title track is called Try. And it's funny, like I just sort of sat down and said, I just want to write the music that I would really, really want to listen to. And I as I say, I love rhythmic momentum. I love like 90s hip hop and all of that kind of stuff. Like, I was born in the 90s. I grew up on Bewitched and, Shania Twain. Like that's where it all started. So yeah, it has a real poppy feel to it. It really, I've been thinking a lot recently just about this idea of how the genius of simplicity, and how so many incredible songwriters and kind of pop, as it were, artists create genius out of not a lot. And it's the same with someone like Beethoven. That's I think that was his huge skill, was the fact that he made genius works of art out of things that are very simple, and there's a lot of confidence, I think, musical confidence, by saying something very simple. But as I say, with all the detail behind. So yeah, it's all these kind of ideas and themes, but the bottom line is that I'd love for people to like bop along to it and for it to make you dance, a la Bewitched, basically. But yeah, I want it to be fun. I want it to be accessible and kind of colourful, which I know sounds strange, but
not at all. No. Not at all. Colourful and the genius of simplicity. Speaking of the genius of simplicity, there are a number of simple things that move me to the centre of my noisy being, as it were. That is seeing phenomenally talented, preposterous people such as yourself getting the credit they deserve and enjoying huge performances and enormous rounds of applause as such for such people. I had the privilege of being at the Royal Albert Hall when you were brought up on the stage after a rather huge compositional effort on your part, and I also know that you won an Ivor Novello Award in recent moments. Could you tell us about both of those, please?
Yeah. So it was a really special project called Combo. It was a 2-year, or more than 2-year project with the Royal Albert Hall, the Royal College of Music, and the Triborough Music Hub. And the commission was to write a piece for, I think it was over 1,000 young people to perform both in choirs and in the instrumental group. So yeah, it needed to be a kind of just over an hour long piece, and I put forward this idea of creating a piece all about how music is a means of communication and kind of charting the history of it. So from bird songs and ancestral drumming and folk songs all the way through to Morse code and film scores and live music coding, which is very cool. It's like fun. And yeah, it all kind of somehow came together. It was a mammoth project. I did I think maybe over sort of 20 workshops in different schools, with the SAND schools, the primary schools, secondary schools, and they were all very much a part of the creative process. in helping create the materials and the content for the piece, and then I kind of sort of wove it all together and put it to my overall sort of structure, and then before you knew it, it was combo day, and we were at the Albert Hall, and it was just amazing, and it was so great. I mean, the Albert Hall team were just so sort of fantastic and encouraging, and nothing was too much trouble, and we had the run of the place basically. We had screens, that we had lighting and all of that, and they were just amazing. It's one of the things, reflecting on it this year, the fact that they all, I mean, the choirs sang it from memory. It was 72 minutes long, and they sang the whole thing from memory. The orchestra played throughout. They were playing film scores to clicks. They were playing folk tunes. It still blows me away, really, like what I asked of them and how they just did it. But yeah, it was an amazing project, something I think will always be very special, and I feel sort of proud to have done, I guess. But
absolutely.
And then the sort of cherry on top was the Ivor Award last year, the Ivor Composer Awards, which was totally mad. But really, but it was just so lovely for literally for everybody involved, because there were so many people involved in terms of all the participants, but then the funders, and all the teams and the various partner organizations. It was a real, it was just a lovely way to celebrate all their work, and still quite mad to have it on my desk. It's quite strange. It's good for the like panic days though. Sometimes when you have days where you're just like, I don't know what I'm doing, I can't do this, it's never going to work, and then you're like, I mean, that happens, so just keep going and you'll be all right.
Charlotte, I'm living in a box. Of course I do. It's dark in here and cold.
In a sparkly box.
It's sparkly. It's sparkly and dark and cold. In closing tonight, you've touched upon the details of some details of your EP, and you've mentioned this notion of working together and new opportunities as we move forward. Any words of encouragement for up and coming composers, and words of excitement for peers such as myself?
Yeah, I mean, I think now is a great time to be creative. I think everyone is, we are all so, I think, aware of it beforehand, but maybe even more now, just the importance of creativity and making things with people and connecting with people, and having projects, and sort of, enjoying the wealth of art in our lives. And I'd say, just if you are thinking of doing something, a project, or creating something, or writing something, just go for it. Like, use this time and listen to as much as you can, and write as much as you can, and reach out to people. Like, I think I've always sort of said, the worst thing someone can ever just say is no, in terms of wanting to start a collaboration, or trying to get advice on something, or so now feels like I'm really hoping that next year, or when things begin to get to normal, there will be this kind of sort of life and kind of enthusiasm for music and live music, and hopefully there'll be lots of good that comes out of this.
Charlotte Harding there, on glorious form, consuming gin and tea, and positively inspirational as ever. My thanks to Charlotte for taking the time to talk, and of course, once again, to you magnificent folk for watching. My honour once again to bring the luminaries of my super circle to your kind attention. Until next Thursday, I'm Michael L. Roberts. Good luck, stay legendary, and ever onward to you all.